Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Then check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something to inspire you. That's dealtohealteas.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.com. Again, that's dealtohealteas.com. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy-daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Ernest James. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. All right, welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you guys listen, like, subscribe, and share to the podcast on all of your podcast listening platforms, as well as make sure that you guys are checking us out on our new YouTube channel. Our new YouTube channel is the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network. We changed it from a just one podcast, and now we have several podcasts. So we wanted to make sure we had them all in one place to make it easier for you to find them. So again, make sure you guys go to the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network on YouTube. Subscribe to it so that you don't miss any of the episodes of not only the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, but also our sister podcast, which is the Girl Dad Discussions podcast. On that podcast, my guest and I discuss the relationship of the daddy-daughter relationship. So I talk to girl dads and I talk to daughters sometimes when they come on also about that relationship and that bond. We started that podcast in order to combat the narrative of the absent father and the fatherless daughters. Make sure you guys go and check that out. Again, that's on the Deal to Heal with the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network on YouTube, where the Girl Dad Discussions podcast is there, as well as the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast is also there. So make sure you guys go and check us out there. Our product of the week, as you guys know, we are a self-sustained podcast, and one of the ways that we stay on the air is by bringing you amazing products for you to purchase in order to help us stay on the air. So our product of the week is our Purpose Journal, as well as our Purpose Planner, because I believe we should journal to keep track of where we've been and where we are in our lives, as well as plan for our future. So make sure you guys go to the descriptions and check out, click the link for the Purpose Journal and the Purpose Planner. Both are
You've frozen, Ernest.
Are available. All right. So today, just like any other day, we are blessed with the guest, Miss. I want to say, I'll make sure I'm saying your name right, Eileen, right?
Eileen.
Eileen. Okay. See, I knew I was going to say it wrong. I should just had you say it in the first place.
Eileen.
I get it. I get
Eileen Head.
it. Right, right. So, Miss Eileen, thank you so very much for being on. So we're gonna jump right in and do me a favor, introduce yourself to my listeners and tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
I'm passionate about helping people become their best selves and to live their best life, manifest their dreams, use the law of attraction. Couples and singles usually come to me to reconnect and to into their deeply intimate relationships because the truth is a lot of times they feel trapped, stuck, and powerless to change the situation they're in. And I want them to know there's a really quick way to understand themselves in much depth and your relationship um, gifts that they bring to relationships and the challenges. And we can chat more about that.
Yes, yes, I definitely am looking forward to doing that. Definitely want to talk about the law of attraction and manifesting. But I'm very big on personal development and really finding out who you are and understanding who you are as a person. But before we get into that, let's go back a little bit just to know a little bit more about your story. What who was it, Eileen, before you started doing this work, and what was the initial incident that made you say, you know what, I think I want to get into this in order to help other people?
Yeah. I grew up on a farm in Saskatchewan in Canada and married my high school sweetheart. Thought we would be married forever and that he was my Prince Charming. But even from the very beginning, we had difficulty connecting. And I didn't know why that was. We were great people. We had the same values, same morals, same goals. And yet it was really uncomfortable for us to even have conversations. And so that put a lot of pressure on both of us. I often went to bed wondering, what is it that I said, shouldn't have said, should have I said it differently? There was a lot of anxiety in our relationship. And he was quiet and shy, and he didn't talk much. It sort of felt like, when you're in the shower or someone's in the shower and you know if someone's there, you can see the shadow of them, but it's foggy. That's what our relationship felt like. And it was very difficult for me to be in that relationship, and got more and more difficult as the emotional chasm between us grew. And so I started having some spiritual experiences where spirit tapped me on the shoulder and gave me some messages. And I started getting some medical callbacks. And I knew that was an indication that, I was creating dis-ease, which could have turned into disease. And I felt out of integrity being in this relationship with a man who I no longer loved. The thing about love is it needs to be nurtured. You need to pay attention. You need to nurture a relationship, or the love dies. And so because I felt out of integrity after 35 years, I left the marriage. And when I did, I found the Enneagram personalities, and I found my answers to our couple dynamics and a depth of understanding about myself that I knew nothing about before.
Yeah, yeah, and that's interesting because my journey kind of went the same way. Um, I was married to a young lady who I've known all my life, and we're still very good friends. And we go back all the way to kindergarten. We went to kindergarten together. That's how early we met and became friends. And unfortunately, like yourself, ended up going through a divorce at some point, and that kind of was the beginning of my journey because I found myself in this place like, okay, who am I?
Yeah.
And I learned about the disc assessments, and that was one of the things that helped me with learning more about myself and my personality. So yeah, I understand that. So let's jump in a little bit. Tell me a little bit about the make sure I'm saying it right. Enneagram, right?
Enneagram.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about it, because now that's new to me, because I'm not familiar with it. So definitely enlighten myself and my audience on what that is, and kind of how it helps you to find, you know, more about yourself.
Yeah, the Enneagram's been around since the 1700s. It's a well respected model. It's a more in depth model and a spiritual um, model, in that it shows you how to become more consciously aware to a path of development to become your best self from your personality. It teaches you that your personality was formed as a survival technique as a child. And by the age of 7, your personality is formed. And it's from a limiting belief that you form in order to get the most love and attention. I need to be a certain way. And therefore, you create this belief, you create patterns in your family, which becomes roles, which becomes identified as a personality. And people believe, well, this is just who I am. But it is not. It is who you have created yourself to be. And the beauty of the Enneagram will help you understand your value, what other people value in you, what the great things are about you, what your gifts are to the world. And it will also show you your challenges and the patterns that sabotage you, and exactly for each personality, what patterns to change to become your very best self. And so when I put our two dynamics together, our couple dynamics, it was like, oh my gosh, is this why we did this dance for 35 years? Unaware and blindfolded and unconscious. Because 2/3 of what couples fight about are individual personality perspective differences, and are irreconcilable unless you know your personalities.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with that, because even looking back on my divorce, and you know, reflecting on it, there was a part of me, or still is a part of me, that has to acknowledge the fact, like, we didn't have to get divorced. You know what I mean? Like, our problems, we could have very easily. I'm not gonna say easily, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
But we could have fixed what, you know, the things that were wrong, and been able to save the marriage, because we were able to save the friendship. You know, again, we are still great friends today, still active in the lives of our children. Both of us, even though we didn't have children together. You know, my daughter's my only biological child. She had 4 sons. Again, definitely still active in the lives of our children, and was able to save our friendship. But I think we could have also saved our marriage too. You know, had we just had the right tools, and was, you know, open to doing it. So when we talk about understanding ourselves with our personalities, just take one, you know, personality trait in particular, and kind of break down, if I was that personality, what would be some of the things that I could kind of learn about myself that would make me go like, I didn't even recognize that, you know, and help me, again, like you said, find my uh kind of like my best way of expressing myself, and learning who I am, to live my best life.
I wish I'd given you the test before and we could go in
Yeah,
depth with this.
should have thought of
So
that.
I'll use myself as an example. I am
Mhm.
a 2 supporter helper personality. There's 9 personalities in the Enneagram. And so the limiting belief that I learned as a child is you must put everybody else's needs before your own in order to get value back. And love is conditional. So you give to get. You learn to do this pattern of giving to get. And it's a wonderful pattern, and people value, oh, you're so helpful, you're so loving, you're so giving. And the other part of that is I also attracted people who were victims, and I enabled people because I had the need to be needed. I had the need to help. And I had no idea that at times my helping could be intrusive. What? Why wouldn't you want my help? And some people
Mhm.
go, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't need it. But I was, when you unconsciously identify as the need to help as your value, that's what you do in the world. The 3 achievers, they are human doings and not human beings. They feel their value is in doing. The perfectionist is in getting everything right. The expressor is the emotional, intense one. The five contemplator is the introvert, the thinker. The six questioner personality is the anxiety, fear, worry, anxiety, and also is very brave. The seven optimister is the whoop whoop, everything's fun, but don't make things serious. I don't want any pain. I can't deal with pain. The eight asserter is the challenger personality, the strong personalities. And then the nine peace seeker is the wants peace at all cost, but really by avoiding conflict creates conflict. So you see the
Mm.
dichotomy in each of them when we're living unconsciously unaware. And so now that I understand my patterns and how people are reacting to me, I give in a different way. I will say, are you open to some feedback? I've noticed some things. Mostly everybody says yes. They want to hear what that is. So I at least get to deliver it, right? And so I say, have you considered or are you aware that your patterns might be intrusive? Or are you aware that you are always the giver, which makes everyone else the taker? I heard a statement once that said, you give so much, it gives me no other opportunity but to take. And I don't like being a taker all the time.
Mm.
And then the twos are not good at receiving, right? They are always giving. And so when you come to these awarenesses, I do it in a different way. I offer the insight and then I let go of outcome. It is up to them. I was overly responsible and attached to the outcome that they pick up my advice and make their life better. Then, woohoo, that was me. I did a great job, right? Well, I don't do it that way anymore, which is very freeing for me because I no longer feel responsible for other people. I still coach people, I help them. If they come to me and they really want the growth, I can present that to them. And like watering a seed, they can nurture that on their own and grow into a beautiful rose bush or whatever, right?
Yeah. I love it. I love it because I'm listening to you and I'm like, that's me. You know what I mean? Like that, the
Yeah.
same personality that you're saying. I'm like, yeah, that was me. And there were some things that I did change too because even now when I'm asked to have like a difficult conversation with someone, I approach it differently too. And I always ask, okay, are we having this conversation so you can vent? Or are we having this conversation so we really
Good.
can understand? You know what I
Good.
mean? Because if you just want to vent, then I'll be quiet and I'll let you vent. But if we're really trying to get some closure, some kind of understanding on, the viewpoints of what's going on, then I know that it's safe for me to give you my opinion, like you did. So I definitely I'm listening to you and I'm like, yeah, that's me. You know
But
what I
wasn't
mean?
it difficult? Wasn't that difficult to shift for a while?
You know what? Yes, because you are as being the helper personality. Again, like you said, it's like I'm trying to help you. Why not you taking this? You know what I mean? Like why aren't you taking this information? And that's
Yeah.
really, especially now, something that plays a part of who I am now to be able to accept that because now I'm more into a mentor role. I joined the organization to be a male mentor. So we have a group of young men that I help mentor, and so I definitely had to accept that too because young people don't always act as quickly as you want them to the information that you give them. And so I have to keep that mindset. It's my job to give them the information. I can't force them to act on it. I can't
Yeah.
force them to receive it, but I have to be okay with knowing that I did my part and then allow them the time to do their part, because I think that's probably something that we probably used to do too. It's like, hey, I told you something. I told you what to do last week. Why you ain't did it yet? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's
I can
like,
help you do
okay,
that. I've got more insights for you. Come on. It's
right.
very, coming to the realization that sometimes we're planting seeds and sometimes people aren't quite ready to grow the whole plant right away, but we can
Mm.
plant the seeds. And, I love that you're doing what you're doing for men. I love coaching men because I find men will say, tell me what to do and I'll fix it. A lot of
Mhm.
women say it's his problem, or they will say, well, I already know all that, right, instead of doing their own inner work with it. And so yeah, it's I love this model because it's so specifically and compassionately and understandingly presents the information in a way. When I read my profile, it was like, ooh, I love that. This is what people value in me. I didn't know that. This is the great things about me. And then when I read the challenges, it was like, I don't like those as much. Those sting. But those are things I knew about. That's where we gain our strength. That's where we grow, is when we look at the challenges, we acknowledge them, and we change them. We learn how to change them in a way that they now become strengths, right?
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. Um, so let's talk a little bit, because that kind of goes into our next thing, because we're once we begin to know ourselves and understand who we are, then we get into really knowing what we want in our lives, right?
Yeah.
What are the things that we want? And so when we start talking about what you want as a person, um, it's not new, but depending on where you are or where you were in your own journey, a personal journey, when we start hearing about manifesting and the law of attraction, that's a new concept to most people, until you know it. You know what I mean? Like when you hear it for the first time, most people not don't grow up hearing those words, and learning what that is. So let's talk a little bit about that. What First, let's go back. Let's talk about vibrations, because that's I think that's, at least me, I don't know for sure because I'm not an expert on it, but I would say that's like learning about vibrations kind of leads you into getting to the law of attraction and manifestation. So let's start there and just tell us a little bit, or explain to my listeners and myself a little bit about vibrational energy, and then how that translates into the law of attraction and manifesting.
Yeah. So people say, what is vibrational energy? Everything gives off energy, right? If you walk into a room where someone's had an argument and they stop talking when you come into the room, you can feel that vibration, right? It's a low vibration. You walk into a wedding and everybody's happy, and you feel that is vibration. So we are sort of like putting out a radio signal all the time. And what we put out is what we attract back. So
Mm.
if we are in the victim stage, which I was for a lot of years in that marriage, poor me, why won't my husband, blah, 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 it's his fault, all of that, instead of doing my own inner work, which I didn't even know what that was, I was also putting out negativity. I'm unhappy. Why don't you make me happy? It's not his
Mm.
job to make my happy, but I didn't know that. And so when you begin to learn, even the words that you use, should, have to, can't, try, are four really disempowering words. When you hear those, instead of I should or I have to, I choose to. I choose not to at this time. Do you feel the difference in the energy,
Mhm.
right? Try. Everybody, well, I'll try to do that. It's a lack of commitment. It feels, at this time, you feel powerless to speak up and not say, at this time, I'm not able to help you, or at this time, I need to say no for me. Before you learn powerful language, you use this other language, which keeps you down here. So, as I learned more about vibrational energy, because we're magnets, we attract back to us what we're giving out. We attract people to us what we're giving out. So, if you look around your circle of friends, and there's a lot of people who are complaining and unhappy and don't know how to change their situation other than complain about it, you need to look back at yourself. Are you there? Or do you no longer fit there? Right? Sometimes we need to leave these people behind or offer them a different perspective of saying to them, I've heard you being unhappy for a long time. Have you considered trying this or this? Is this something you want to do more positively?
Yeah, and I love the language transitions. to be able to, again, like you said, change your language. One of the things that I've picked up, instead of saying I have to, is I get to. You know what I mean? Like, I get to do this. This is an
Oh,
opportunity for me. You know, people say, "Oh, I got to go to work tomorrow." No, I get to go to work tomorrow,
yeah,
because there are some people that don't have jobs. You know what I mean? I got to get up in the morning. No, I get to get up in the morning, because there were some people that went to sleep and didn't get up. You know what I mean? And so, really being able to change your mindset into even a more of a gratitude mindset. And so you're always thinking about, the opportunities that you have and being grateful for those opportunities, instead of always looking at things in a negative light, as far as being, problems. It's like, no, it's not a problem. It's an opportunity to make a difference. You know what I mean? It's an opportunity to find a solution to something that may be ailing me or ailing someone else. And yet, really changing that mindset. I think that's a great thing that we've learned to do when we start doing this work, especially on our personalities and finding out who we are. I think that's one of the main things that we learn. Just change our mindset to be able to look at the world with different eyes. And so when we get to that place, and then we start talking about the law of attraction, again, talking about what you put out is what you get back to you. And that shows up in so many different
yeah,
spaces. And I know you talk a lot about relationships. And I remember even reading the book, the four love languages,
yeah,
and learning even that about myself. Like, wow, this is part of me too.
mhm,
And all those ways that you learn when you're learning more about yourself, and to be able to say, okay, what's my love language? And not only that, but how do I project that to other people? And then people that connect with that, or people that connect with you, will be able to say, oh, I'm attracted to that. And you attract these certain people, with you being yourself,
yeah,
not going out of your space to become someone else, or become a version of yourself to be accepted by others. But you learn to be accepted by yourself, accept yourself, and then you're able to show up authentically in your own personality as your fullest self. And I think that's just an amazing concept when you get to that space.
yeah. People don't realize that life is a mind game. Everything is a choice. Choose to or choose not to. You can choose to be down in the dumps. You can choose to see your life as a negative. You can choose to live a mundane life, or you can choose to make it better. You can choose to grow. You can choose to learn. Gratitude is one of the most powerful, highest vibrational energies that you can have. And if you're in gratitude, you're not down over here. If you're
Mm.
looking for things during the day to be grateful for, you shift your life very quickly.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. And so I want to talk about a little bit about manifestation, right? And so I there's a podcast that I listen to, where there's a male and a female host. There's two, and so this is the argument that they have all the time, right? Because they talk about manifestation, and it's like, okay, you manifest things, uh, the things that you want in life, and then you begin to put in the necessary work behind those thoughts and ideas in order to bring it to fruition. And so their argument always is, which comes first? Does the work come first and then you manifest the belief, or do you manifest the belief first and then you do the work? So that's like kind of like the argument they always have. um so just I'm going to ask you, not necessarily, I mean, you can definitely answer that from your viewpoint, but
Yeah. Oh,
definitely
yes, I
talk a
will.
little,
Let
definitely
me
talk
lean
about,
forward here.
yeah,
So
definitely
there,
talk to us a little bit about, for those who don't know what manifestation is, and then, you can go on to explaining how it works.
manifestation comes with dreams. A lot of people are afraid to dream because don't want to be disappointed. They don't
Mm,
believe it's possible. What you need to have is the belief that it is possible, not the how, not the how to bring it to you, but that it's possible. And that's why The Secret did not work. People went, okay, I want to make $1 million by the end of the year. but then they didn't put the action steps in place to do that. And it was such a big dream that unconsciously they didn't believe it was possible. So there's a lot that goes into the manifestation. I believe the possibility is always there for us. If we can dream it, we can bring it to us. However, it is about being consistent. It is about seeing yourself already there, seeing yourself in the dream. I'd like to give you a couple examples, if I could, of what I
Yes,
brought in.
please.
So as I was working on my own dreams, and I had vision boards. Vision boards are so effective because your mind works in images. And so I was selling my house, and realtors kept knocking on the door, and they said, your house is not worth anything. We'll just give you land value. And when it was time for me to sell it, I had a friend, and he said, well, how much do you want to sell it for? And I told him, and he went, you're never going to get this. The market's low and you're not going to get this, but I'll list it that way. And I sold it for $45,000 over what anyone said I would get in 3 weeks in a repressed market. And I bought the house I'm in. I had a vision board. I wanted hillside bungalow, walkout basement, adult community, sunny. I could show you 2 pictures to the tree out front. I have that house. And then I had friends. I play pickleball almost every day. I'm passionate about it. And they were going south for the winter down to Phoenix. And I thought, gee, I'm single and I don't have a lot of money. I would love to go somewhere warm on a vacation. All of a sudden, a friend out of the blue, a friend of a friend, phones me up and he says, well, I hear you want to go on a vacation. And I said, yeah. And he said, I have a condo on the beach in Puerto Morelos, Mexico. I will rent it to you for $100 Canadian per person per week for 2 weeks. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Like, oh my gosh. And that's when I knew that I was on the vibration of being able to bring this in. And at the same time, I had a friend in going to Mazatlan. She said, come down and stay with me. And I love the community. And I said, I'm going to come back in January. Everybody said, you'll never get in here. It's always booked. And I sat there and I felt within myself, no, I'm coming back here. I got January, February, March, booked the next year. I'm going down the end of October for my 4th year. I figured out how to do it by renting my house with the belief that I'm just going to do it. This is going to come about because I believe it's going to come about. Does that answer your question? But then you work on it. You keep it front of your mind all the time. You're looking for the small things. If you're asking for more abundance to come in, the other day I opened a book that I'd never read before. There was a US dollar bill in there and I went, ooh, there's a sign of abundance. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's only $1. That's not how I look at it. That was a sign to show me there is abundance. Keep working on it. Keep looking for it.
Yes. And I agree 100%. So I'll share this short story. When we were younger, my mom used to always say there was a prayer that she would pray. And her prayer was, God, bless me with some unearned money, right? That's what she would pray. And so I remember her talking to us one day and sharing this story, how she was just in this place. And that's what she was saying. She was like, God, just bless me with some unearned money. And she ended up finding $1, and so when she came back because her as our mom, she's talking to the kids and she's explaining like that's how it works, your faith. Was it an answer to your prayer? Yes, it was unearned money. Did you say she in her prayer she didn't say a specific amount, and even if she did, that didn't mean she was going to get that whole amount at one time. But that was something that she that story that she told us is something that she placed in us. So fast forward years later, I'm 48, and this was just this year. I walk every day, right? I like walking, so I walk every day. And so I'm walking down the street this one day, and the story came to my mind. So I just said the prayer of saying, well, God, bless me with some unearned money, whatever it is, just bless
Yeah.
me with unearned money. And I'm walking down the street and I'm walking past a school, and there's a gate in front of the school. So I'm walking along the gate, and you know how the wind blows and it presses the leaves against the gate? There's $3 pressed against the gate. And I pick up the $3 and I say, thank you, God, for answering my prayers. I bring the $3 home. I put it on my board where my vision board is, and it's
Yep.
still there to this
Yep.
day. And
Nice.
people are like, why you got $3 on your board? I said, that's not just $3. That's an answer to a prayer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So every
Yeah.
day when I come in here, I can look up there and see that. And it's a reminder that God answers prayers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that very same thing. It's like you believe it and then you walk in that belief, in order to receive, what it is that you're believing for, as
Yeah.
well as putting in the work. Because when it comes to, like you said, manifesting something, not only do you have to believe it, but then your actions should support your belief. If you just say, I want $1 million, and then you never leave home, it's like, well, how are you going to get it? You know what I mean? You're waiting for a check in the mail. It's like, it's still going to take some actions on your
Yeah.
part to prove that you believe what you're saying you believe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That you're not just saying, I want something, but then putting no actions behind being able to receive it. Because had I not been walking and not being, actually keeping my eyes open and being open to wherever this, abundance was going to come from, I may have walked right past the $3. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But
You need
because
to
I
believe it's you need to believe it's possible, and you need to act like it's already happened.
Mhm.
Like it's already in the process, like it's already happened. It's on its way. I have sayings that I say before I go to bed. Money flows to me effortlessly
Mhm.
in large amounts. I have more money in my bank account than I'll be able to spend in a lifetime. I do many different mantras that that reframes my brain to the positive, right? And I get up in the mornings and I'm so grateful for my house. I'm
Mhm.
so grateful for my kids. I'm great, and I go through a whole list of gratitude things. And there's a feeling of almost like a ticklish feeling of joy in that. And there's a hum when you're in the manifestation that you can almost feel the hum of it, that you're there. It's on its way. You're working it. You believe in it. It's on its way, right? That's a very simplified approach, but I teach people the statements to make, the wording to use. That is all that and more. Um, Many different statements that I use that I help people. I want people to dream. I want them to have a dream, a year dream, a 5-year dream, a bucket list dream, a career, a relationship dream. Um, you need to have dreams, otherwise, life is just mundane. It's
Mhm.
just a struggle to get through.
Yeah, yeah, because those dreams give you a sense of direction, even in your lives. It's like, okay, if this is the thing I want, what do I need to be doing in the meantime that's headed in that direction? When you don't
Right.
have a dream and you don't have a goal, then you just out here kind of flying in the wind, as, as they say, and you're reacting instead of taking action. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, there's some actions that I need to take in order to get what I want. But if you don't have a dream or a vision, then you're just reacting to whatever that happens to you. Or the wind is blowing this way, well, I guess I'm going to go this way. Or a
Yeah.
car just went that way, well, I guess I'm going to turn that way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because you have no vision. So I think those dreams give you direction in your life to be able to say, okay, this is where I want to be. So what do I have to do in order to be walking and moving in that direction? And I love it. I love it. Last thing before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit. You mentioned it earlier briefly about the spirituality and being able to come, more in depth with it or more connected to it. So when it comes to becoming more conscious about our own spirituality and how that affects even our personality or even in the law of attraction and manifestation, just how it shows up in our lives, what are some things that we can look for or even to implement in our lives that'll make that connection and that bond with our own spirituality just that much stronger.
Yeah, and again, this is why I love the Enneagram, because it shows you the 9 levels of
Mhm.
consciousness for your personality. People will say, well, I'm not like that anymore, so that's, I changed personalities. That's not it. We grow up the level of our personality, and it shows us the patterns to do to become more conscious. And so when we're living a life more consciously and more spiritually, when things happen to us, instead of saying, well, why did that happen? I'm a good person. Why is that? We have a life lesson in everything, and everybody is an actor on our stage. Everybody. So the person you're having the most difficulty with, they are a gift to us if we're open to looking. What is this person teaching me? What is it I need to know inside of myself that I'm reacting to right now? What is it I'm triggered with? It's not them. It's all about me. It's about me if I personalize it, if I choose to be a victim and say, well, that's not fair, or all of those things. But when we look at life, becomes so much richer when you're conscious of what's going on around you, what's happening with you and for you. And so, the challenges we have with other people is if we shift our perspective, what's going on with them right now? This may not be about me at all. This may
Mhm.
be something they've experienced with somebody else, that we've said something that's triggered in them. And when you start to live more consciously, you let the drama and trauma go. I don't have a lot of drama or trauma in my life. I don't think I have drama. I resolve things very quickly when
Mhm.
I'm upset, or even with my one of my older sons recently, I wanted to spend more time with the family, but they're so busy all the time, and he's got a very intense job. And so I needed to speak up for me, which was difficult for us twos. And I said to him, I'm lonely. And he said, Mom, you're so busy. You're playing pickleball every day. You're dancing. You're getting together with friends. And I said, I'm lonely for you guys. I want to spend more time with you. And he said, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, well, you don't always answer my texts, that makes me feel unappreciated. He said, okay, Mom. He said, I'll do better. And he said, call me on it if I don't. Since we had that conversation, he's been more attentive. They've been more open to, just short times. We need to learn how to speak up for ourselves in a way that is not demanding of other people, that's not aggressive. If he'd have said, look, Mom, we just don't have the time, I would have went, okay, all right, I understand. It's not about them. That feeling that I need is in me. It's up
Mhm.
to me to resolve that for me.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it, Eileen. I really I want to thank you for being on, and thank you for coming on the podcast. I definitely love your information, your point of view, your expertise. I want you to have the last word, right? And I want you to leave us with how we can. First of all, I want you to leave us with your social media handles and your information, and also to tell us how we can work with you and even find out even more information about the Enneagram. Any Enneagram. I'm stop trying to say
Enneagram. Yep, you're close.
it. So we can find out more information, and I want you to leave us with a word of advice or a word of inspiration, however you feel. Right, I want you to leave us with that. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about that. To my listeners, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Because you guys know that I definitely appreciate you guys, and you didn't have to be here, but you are. So I want to say thank you for tuning in to the podcast. Also, if you guys have ever thought about starting your own podcast, make sure you guys get your copy of the ebook, Start Your Podcast Now. Right. So I wrote the ebook because people kept asking me how to start a podcast. So I made it very simple for you guys. Start your podcast now. In only 3 steps is the ebook. You can find it at ebooksbyejames.com. Again, that's ebooksbyejames.com. Make sure you guys go there and check that out. Also, make sure you're checking me out, should I say, on my main website, which is the dealhealfulfill.org. Again, that's dealhealfulfill.org, because my mission, as well as the mission of the podcast, is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. So make sure you guys go there. You can find out more about the things that I have going on as an author, as a speaker, as a podcaster. And also, you can book me to come to speak or to hold a workshop at your school or organization. Again, make sure you guys go there to the dealhealfulfill.org website in order to get more information about that. Also, you can go to ebooksbyejames.com, ebooksbyejames.com, to check out the other ebooks that I have available besides the Start Your Podcast Now work ebook. We also have the Four Core, which is the core four values that every daughter should get from her father ebook. We have the Forgiving Me, the 4 Steps to Self-Forgiveness ebook, as well as From Males to Men, which is a male mentoring ebook. All of those are available at ebooksbyejames.com. Make sure you guys go and check out their website and check that out. Also, make sure you check us out on our inspirational t-shirt line, which is deal2healtees.com. That's deal, the number 2, healtees.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tee and be inspired all day. That is our tagline. Make sure you guys go there to check out our inspirational tees, as well as our podcast merch. You can find our t-shirts with our podcast logos on it. The Deal to Heal with E. James podcast logo, as well as the Girl Dad Discussions podcast logo on our tees. Make sure you guys go and check that out. And last but not least, over the last couple of years, I've been blessed to be a part of an organization called the Forgiveness Mission. And what we do, we have free virtual workshops every month talking about everything regarding forgiveness, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of the world, even forgiveness in our bodies, by recognizing how unforgiveness affects us physically. Those workshops are absolutely free. You can take it on your phone, you can take it on a laptop. So make sure you guys go to forgivenessmission.com in order to sign up for our next free forgiveness workshop. Or you could go to Eventbrite and look up Forgiveness Workshop held by the Forgiveness Mission in order to sign up that way. It's an amazing organization that I've been a part of. We actually also have done, at the time of hearing this, we've done 2 surviving suicidal ideation events where I'm one of the speakers sharing my journey with suicidal ideations and things of that nature. So we've had 2 of those events. We're planning to keep those going, having those every year. Also, that's at this moment, those are even free too. We actually have those in Chicago, Illinois, in the U.S. So make sure you guys look us up. But the Forgiveness Mission, the free virtual workshops is every other month. They're absolutely free. Again, just go to forgivenessmission.com in order to sign up for that. And to be able to take part in that endeavor, right? So,
well done. Well done. You have a heart to help. You do.
Yes.
You're a heartfelt helper. Beautiful.
Yes, thank you. That's why when you were saying that earlier, I'm like, yes, that's me. I want to thank you again. I want to thank you again for being on, for sharing your expertise and your story. I want you to have the last word, so the floor is yours.
What I want you to know, and what I never dreamed possible, the things I'm doing now, I want you to, so many people I talk to, is this all there is? Life is mundane. It feels powerless. It feels like unable to change a situation. You really can, and very quickly. I offer a free call on my website, eileenhead.com. The Enneagram test is free. I will follow it up with a phone call and a little reading about your personality. I guarantee you, you will learn things you never knew. It is so freakishly accurate. People will say hit after hit after hit. That's me, that's me, that's me. There's so much power in understanding yourself at a deep level. And you can have way more fun and adventure than you're having by changing your mindset, by opening it up, by manifesting, and enrolling the law of attraction.
I love it. I love it. Could you share your social media handles? Did you do that?
Yeah.
Make sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm on Facebook, Eileen Head. My website, eileenhead.com. I'm on Instagram, Eileen Head. I'm on YouTube. And I have a Facebook group that's called Relationship Advice to Live Your Best Life. Hop in there because I've got a ton of information in there. Relationship tips, tips about personalities, manifesting, lots of things in there.
All right, all right. To my listeners, make sure you guys go to the description, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening to this on your podcast listening platform. All of Eileen's information will be in the description. So make sure you guys go to the description to check it out, as well as other stuff that we have there. We always have a lot of information in the description. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Also, man, I just want to say thank you guys again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, because our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Until next time, you guys be blessed. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.